A former Kern County Sheriff's deputy involved in a second deadly officer-involved shooting, this time in Oregon. A heated debate erupts during discussion for a new Bakersfield homeless shelter. And we have the latest on the deadly ambush in Mexico, killing 9 family members. This is 17 News at noon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maddie Jansen. A former Kern County Sheriff's deputy involved in a deadly officer-involved shooting here in 2011 pulled the trigger in another shooting in Oregon. That shooting left a 39-year-old man dead, according to Hillsboro police. You may remember in 2011, Kern County Sheriff's Deputy Bobby Voth was involved in a shooting that killed a man in a wheelchair. 35-year-old Rodolfo Medrano called 911 and said he was suicidal and that he would kill a cop. Medrano told the 911 dispatcher he wanted to kill himself because he was depressed and that he had a gun in his lap. When deputies arrived, they say they tried to talk Medrano down for 45 minutes. That's when the department says he pulled out a knife and started advancing toward deputies. When he ignored calls to stop, Deputy Voth and 3 others fired. In 2012, some of Medrano's family members sued the county for wrongful death. According to court records, the suit was settled in 2014. It has not been disclosed how much the settlement was. The shooting was ruled within department policy. Deputy Voth started working at the Hillsboro Police Department in 2017, according to LinkedIn. On October 21st, the department says Voth was investigating suspicious activity between 2 drivers and saw that one of the drivers was armed with a gun. After refusing demands to drop the gun, shots were fired, and that man was killed, the department said. The shooting's being investigated by the Washington County Major Crimes Team. On to the homelessness crisis here in Kern County, and the site for a new homeless shelter in Bakersfield remains uncertain after a heated meeting. Last night's council meeting spilled out into the lobby. Residents, church leaders, and business owners all had something to say about the proposed location in question, 1900 Brundage Lane. Last week, the city of Bakersfield announced it had reached a $3.83 million deal to buy a piece of land on Brundage. The property is 7.5 acres, and the shelter would be about 2.5 times the size of the Mission at Kern County. There would be space for 450 emergency beds, as well as pets, partners, and possessions. The shelter would also have wraparound service providers, a designated area for a BPD substation, a warehouse for storage, and a cafeteria. The proposal comes with a 10-acre property worth $1.1 million, which could one day be used for affordable housing. Many supporters said this location is the action we need now, but others fear the size and lack of restrictions could spell disaster for the surrounding community.
We're not opposing this thing, but we think the maximum amount of beds is excessive, and I think it would be an overload for the community.
There is no perfect location. Location will always be controversial. There will always be a business that says this is incompatible with our use, and more surprisingly than anything, I think there are many churches that are believing that it's incompatible with their use.
Council members unanimously decided to delay the vote until January 22nd. In that time, they'll look at other locations and ask the community for more feedback. An RV caught fire just after 3 this morning. This was the scene on Amber Ridge Drive. Flames spread to the home next to that RV. The house had some minor damage, and one person was in the home at the time of the fire, but they were able to get out safely. No word on what caused that fire. On to the impeachment inquiry now. A foreign policy aide to Vice President Pence is answering questions in the House's impeachment inquiry today. Jennifer Williams, the Vice President's special advisor for Europe and Russia, arrived on Capitol Hill this morning. She's being deposed behind closed doors by the House Intel, Foreign Affairs, and Oversight committees. Williams is the first person from the Vice President's office to testify in the inquiry into President Trump. Alexander Vindman is also back on Capitol Hill today. The Army Lieutenant Colonel and Ukraine Director on the National Security Council arrived this morning at the Capitol. He's there to review the transcript of his testimony from late last month. Public hearings in the impeachment inquiry will begin next week, starting with former United States Ambassador to Ukraine, Bill Taylor, on Wednesday. All right, let's bring it back here at home and check out that forecast. Going to be another warm afternoon.
Another warm afternoon, and air quality, as you can see, still have a haze out there. I don't see any changes on that. And we're currently at 75 degrees in Bakersfield, so starting to warm things up around the area under a calm wind. I'm not expecting much in terms of the winds throughout the afternoon here. As we take a look at the temperatures throughout the afternoon, we'll look at the lower 80s and then slipping back into the 60s right around 6 o'clock. And then overnight, we'll be back into those 50s. Tehachapi, 72 right now. You have a southeast wind at 14. We'll look for a light breeze throughout the afternoon. And you can see we've got a little bit of a breeze over the Grapevine as well if you're headed south throughout the afternoon. Here's a look at the temperatures out of Tehachapi, lower 70s, and then slipping back into those cooler 40s as we head into this evening. We'll talk more about your forecast. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Making news around the world, the man arrested in the Mexico ambush on an American family is no longer a suspect. This is funeral arrangements are being made for 3 American mothers and their 6 children who were murdered. But now new questions about why the group was attacked and how to go after the killers. NBC's Miguel Almaguer has more from Tucson, Arizona.
Top military officials in Mexico say they believe the 3 American mothers and their 6 children, some of them babies, were killed in a case of mistaken identity between rival cartels. That explanation disputed by some family members who say the cartels know everyone in the area. Telling NBC News they want the government to tell the truth. Investigators have released few details as the government faces pressure to make arrests. Mexico's president says U.S. authorities can aid in the investigation if they choose to, as families on both sides of the border grieve.
It's been a tragic nightmare. I keep thinking I'm going to wake up.
With 5 children hospitalized, seen here getting treatment before arriving in Tucson, 8-month-old Brixton Lanford was shot in the chest and grazed in the wrist. 4 of his siblings also suffered gunshot wounds, but somehow managed to survive. Some of the youngest survivors remain hospitalized after losing their mothers. Unimaginable grief after escaping an unthinkable attack.
In Mexico, authorities there say after making an arrest yesterday from a suspect who may have possibly been connected to this case, they have now ruled him out as a possible suspect. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News, Tucson.
Making news around the state, today marks 1 year since the deadly mass shooting at the Borderline Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks. It was college country night at the bar. Most people inside the bar were students in their 20s, looking to take a break from work or school. Around 11:20 that night, a gunman who was a United States Marine Corps veteran shot a security guard standing outside the bar. Then he went inside and shot other employees before moving to shoot people inside the bar. 12 people were killed, including a Pepperdine University freshman and a survivor of the Las Vegas mass shooting. After officers entered the building, Ian Long was found dead in the kitchen area after killing himself. Yesterday, a portion of the 101 freeway was dedicated to fallen Ventura County Sheriff's Sergeant Ron Helis. LA is moving closer to banning single-use plastics. Its city council voted Wednesday to start working on laws to ban all single-use plastics. The city council is also asking several city departments to come up with ways on how to most effectively ban them. This is all motivated by the harm single-use plastics have on the environment. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti said LAX and other large facilities in the city would be added to the ban and would not be allowed to sell single-use plastics. Veterans Day is next Monday, and Bakersfield will celebrate with the 100th anniversary of its Veterans Day Parade. Here's a quick look at last year's parade. You can expect all of the marching bands, vehicles, cheer squads, and more Monday, November 11th in downtown Bakersfield. The parade will follow the same route it always does. It starts at 10 a.m. right outside of our studios here at 21st and L. It heads west on 21st, south on G, and then back up 20th Street. The Veterans Day festivities, though, begin early in the morning. The American Legion Post 26 will host breakfast at 6:30 a.m. The cost is $6, but veterans eat free. After that, a flag-raising ceremony is set for 8 a.m. at the Veterans Memorial on Truxton and S. That's near the Bill Library. Then it's back to Post 26 for lunch after the parade. Well, it was a day of camaraderie and fundraising for our local heroes. KGET teamed up with Honor Flight Kern County for an all-media, all-day event to bring in money to send local veterans to our nation's capital. Honor Flight Kern County says $40,000 was raised at the All Day Long fundraiser. The funds will go toward a charter flight for 100 veterans next April to go see our nation's capital and the memorials built in their honor. If you'd still like to donate, you can go to honorflightKernCounty.org. Is a new holiday dedicated to consumer savings. Details on how to cash in on Cashback Day. And the latest on how vaping could affect not just your lungs, but your heart. Your 17 Health Watch is after the break. We're back now on your 17 Health Watch. Growing evidence that vaping may have harmful effects on the heart. That's according to new research from Ohio State University. Scientists say e-cigarettes contain nicotine, particulate matter, and metals, which are all linked to cardiovascular problems. Some studies have shown vaping increases blood pressure, heart rate, and stiffness in the arteries. Experts say more research is needed to determine the long-term health effects of e-cigarettes. Meantime, the importance of exercise for women with breast cancer. A new German study finds that increasing physical activity after diagnosis could help improve the odds of survival. Researchers looked at over 2,000 breast cancer patients over the age of 50 and found that less active women who started exercising for at least 150 minutes a week lowered their risk of death by 50%. All right, let's take a look outside. You may want to exercise inside today with this haze hanging around, right, Kev?
Yeah, there's a little haze, but the air quality isn't as bad as we've been seeing it. It'll be in the moderate range as we go throughout the day. Overnight, we had a chill in the air, 49 degrees, close to the normal of 47. Our normal high for today, 69. 91 the record set back in 1941, and 456 will be your sunset for tonight. We've got 79 out in Arvin right now under sunny skies. Wasco, 73. And we've got Golden Hills under clear skies and the lower 70s. And you can see other locations hovering about the same. Buttonwillow at 74, along with Taft, and then into the mountains. Frazier Park at 67, Tehachapi at 72, and 81 out of Lake Isabella. Not much to show you on the satellite and radar. Clear skies for the interior part of the state. A little bit of coastal fog this morning, but other than that, we're looking at this ridge-high pressure that has been in control. But there is an indication that by next week it may start to weaken a little bit as we see a couple of troughs develop out of the north and west. For now, though, it remains anchored, and you can see temperatures currently in the mid-50s out of the Bay Area. Fresno at 74 and mid to upper 60s south. Daytime highs today will be in the mid-70s for Sacramento. Lower 80s out of Fresno and 70s to the south. Vegas, nice and comfortable today, a high of 74. Let's take a look at the national weather. We are tracking a front that is pushing along the east coast. We've got snow in parts of upstate New York, and you can see into the Carolinas this afternoon. We'll see some showers. Where we're not seeing any rain and just lots of sunshine is Key West. Take a look at this picture right here. This is the southernmost point cam, and you can see people enjoying that. And temperatures today, we're looking at 50s out of Seattle. You can see where that cooler air still is out of Bismarck and Minneapolis into the 20s. 33 degrees today in Chicago. Much warmer air in Miami with the mid-80s. Here at home, air quality will be moderate with an AQI at 93. No burning unless you are registered. And today, calling for a sunny and beautiful day with 81 in Bakersfield, 80 in Delano, 79 in Taft with Buttonwillow at 82. For the mountains, a northwest wind right around 5 to 10. 71 in Frazier Park, 73 in Tehachapi. 80s for Lake Isabel and Kernville, upper 70s in Weldon. And then for the desert, today an easterly wind 5 to 10, a high of 79 in Mojave, Ridgecrest at 82. Your extended forecast, we keep you sunny through next Tuesday. Next Wednesday, there could be a change in the forecast with a few clouds rolling on in. But for the most part, keeping you in the 70s to lower 80s. For the mountains, the only change will come next Tuesday as well, with some clouds possibly rolling into the area. And we'll look for temperatures in the 60s and 70s. And then for the Kern River Valley forecast, 70s, lower 80s throughout the next 7 days. And you can see by next Wednesday, a few high clouds may push into the area as well. Overnight temperatures remaining into the 50s, but overall today looking good, sunny, warm, and air quality in the moderate range.
Yeah, I just wish we could get rid of that haze, unfortunately.
Yeah, whenever we see these ridges, whether it be the fall, winter, or summer, the air quality just isn't in our favor.
All right. Thanks so much, Kev.
Yep.
Still ahead here at noon. Up next, saving you money ahead of the holidays. How to take advantage of National Cashback Day. Your 17 Business Watch is after the break.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
And we're back in your 17 Business Watch this afternoon. The Dow jumped 200 points this afternoon as investors buy stocks and dump bonds on trade deal optimism. Right now, the Dow is up 184 points. The NASDAQ up 18. The S&P 500 up about 7 points. Meantime, checking out oil prices while we're at it. West Texas Intermediate selling for $57.04 a barrel this afternoon, and Midway Sunset selling for $60.10 a barrel. Get ready for Tesla's Cybertruck. CEO Elon Musk tweeting the news that he'll unveil the long-awaited electric pickup truck November 21st in Los Angeles. He previously said he wants the Cybertruck to perform better than a Ford F-150 and be a better sports car than a Porsche 911. It will join Tesla's other offerings, the Model S and Model 3 sedans and the Model X sport utility vehicle. Shop till you drop and get cash back. National Cashback Day is today. It is a new holiday, and it's from Retail Me Not. To participate, just head to Retail Me Not's website or download the app. After creating an account, hit Cashback to see a list of participating retailers and all of their deals. Your cashback will fall under My Rewards in about 45 days. From there, you can send yourself the money through PayPal or Venmo or redeem it with the purchase of gift cards. Some controversial proposals could forever change America's national parks. Most people visit them to get away from it all. But the federal government is apparently considering new recommendations that would give campers access to things like Wi-Fi, food trucks, and even Amazon deliveries. NBC's Sam Brock has more from Yosemite National Park.
For those seeing Yosemite National Park for the very first time, first impressions can be breathtaking.
When you were driving in, what were you experiencing?
It's nothing short of spectacular. Every place is a picture.
Now something of a shadow cast over that beauty.
We want future generations to see what we're seeing.
After a recreation advisory board made up of business leaders recently recommended updating historic national parks with better Wi-Fi, food trucks, maybe even Amazon deliveries at campsites.
Not sure why you would need Amazon packages to get delivered to you when you're in a national park.
It comes 2 years after Yosemite added a Starbucks to this idyllic setting. Catherine Combs, fully caffeinated and visiting with 4 children, admits it's nice.
I don't like the idea of a Starbucks, I guess, in nature, but I just love that it's here.
The delicate balance between climbing into nature and keeping up with the times is something Yosemite tour guide Scott Gurman knows well.
We don't want too much commercialization, but the idea of looking at local businesses to come in and support the large demand within Yosemite, I think that's a creative solution.
The National Park Service says it's keeping its options open. In a statement, the agency said it's reviewing the recommendations and will only take action if they improve the visitor experience, protect national park resources, and are prudent investments. Many longtime visitors telling NBC News they're satisfied with waterfalls, trails,
And of course, iconic views of Yosemite Valley that will take you to another universe. Now imagine if areas where people stop to admire this are filled with food trucks.
We don't need food trucks. We don't need Wi-Fi. We don't need more garbage and people dropping hot dog wrappers.
In addition to clutter, some critics worry privatization could lead to exclusion, with senior discounts during peak season going away.
While concessions are very important, we worry that they're going to price families and individuals out of our parks.
And those families now coming in droves, making it harder to maintain the parks as the government plans to slash nearly $500 million from next year's budget.
That was NBC's Sam Brock reporting. We'll be right back after this. All right, welcome back. 17 on set. This weekend, the Kget Jewish Center, Community Center, and California State Bakersfield are hosting a conversation with Holocaust survivor Dr. Jacob Eisenbach. It's happening this weekend, and joining us this afternoon to talk about it, Rabbi Shmuel Schlanger. Rabbi, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we were just chatting a little bit about his story that he's going to be sharing this Sunday. Tell us a little bit about that.
He has a phenomenal story of how his town that he grew up in was turned into a ghetto, and later the people were sent to the camps, and he survived, came to the United States, so practiced dentistry, but also dedicated his life to educating the masses and the young, specifically in a message that's very timely today against bigotry, anti-Semitism, and hate. And we're very privileged to be joining with the Cal State University Bakersfield. We're very appreciative to the president, to Dr. Liara Gopkin, and to others that have taken on this event to bring the education and to bring Dr. Eisenbach's story to the school. We also have private donors that took part, Ira and Carol Curran of UBS Financial and Robert and Marcy Smith and Varner Brothers, the Seton Farms and Gregory D. Bynum and others that have taken on and find this event so important to bring to Bakersfield. Just a little bit of a follow-up from our last event that we had that was a great success at the Fox Theater. And, over the events that have taken place in the country, we feel strong and committed now to bring this education and to be able to do it at the university, specifically to the younger generation, those that will be of influence someday. We're absolutely honored.
And what do you want to say to the community about why they should come out and hear this, why it's so important?
Once again, nothing new to what we've been saying, that we live in times that are trying right now, that education is needed. I have a personal friend who is also a Holocaust survivor, and he says that he credits his survival to the education that he had. Education could never be lost. This was his. Education is everything. This is what it's all about. This is how we're going to influence, one way or the other, the next generation. And so we're, very, very happy to be able to bring on another great event at Cal State to bring education to Bakersfield.
Okay, again, it's happening this Sunday from 4 to 6 at the Dory Theater at CSUB. Do people need tickets? Do they need to get them in advance?
Eventbrite and Dr. Jacob Eisenbach. We're running out, so now's the time.
Okay, absolutely. Get those ahead of time. It's happening this Sunday. Rabbi, thanks for joining us
this
afternoon.
For having
we appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Finally at noon, the holidays are just around the corner, which means the Rockefeller tree is on its way to town. Today, crews prepped to chop down the spruce tree for the Rockefeller Center holiday season. Currently, it resides in Florida and New York, but that all changed this morning. Crews sawed through the tree and hoisted it in the air, lowering it onto the back of a truck. The tree stands as high as 77 feet tall, weighing a whopping 14 tons. It will be on display at the Rockefeller Center for the 2019-2020 holiday season. Of course, getting ready for that big tree lighting later this season. We are 3 weeks away from Thanksgiving as of today. It's really hard to believe, but it's getting to be that time and starting to look a lot more like Christmas in other parts of the country, perhaps more so than here. Well, that's all for us here on 17 News at noon. We'll see you back tonight at 5 and 6. Have a great Thursday.
17 News, your local news leader, continues 24 hours a day on KGET.com and our 17 News app. In the spirit of the Golden Empire, 17 News.